Well, next up, the L in GLMV is Libertyville. We have our mayor, Terry Wepler.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much for inviting us today. I do have with me Trustee Rich Morris and Kevin Bowens, the real person who runs the village of Libertyville. So on behalf of the village, thank you. Tell you just a little bit about what's going on in Libertyville right now. We recently approved a budget for the May 1st through April 30th fiscal year. General fund, again, is balanced. So we have a balanced budget. Budget includes continuation of the aggressive capital improvement plan we began several years ago. It includes $4.1 million in road improvements through our bond program that our residents approved, and another $1.4 million for annual road reconstruction and $4.8 million in water and sewer infrastructure improvements. If you've followed the news at all, I think everyone has seen that our infrastructure system in the country has been going downhill. We're doing what we can to make those improvements in Libertyville to make sure that our improvements are in good condition. Next, we recently implemented a commercial garbage franchise which began in February of 2015. Program provides recycling capabilities for businesses as well as substantial cost savings. I think there was one business in town that did not save money in our commercial program. Every other business saved money. Right now, we've got some new developments going on, breaking ground on new developments. A couple years ago, I was kind of disappointed with what happened when we lost a large business in town. Well, it's now going to be Innovation Park of Lake County, a $1.2 million square foot multi-tenant office project. Should be available for lease beginning in the fall. I'm very happy about this project because I would tell you, we met with the Beco people before they ever bought the property. They've done a tremendous job on a property in Raleigh. And guess what? If you lose a tenant there, it's going to be multiple tenants. You don't lose 3,500 jobs at once. They have a number of tenants, very high-end, and they're going to be spending millions additional to upgrade the property again. We also broke ground for 2 industrial buildings on the East Park Avenue corridor by Bridge Development Partners, and they're currently entering into contracts. We are under contract for a parcel of property that we owned, the Bolander property, and that has been sold to Swanson Development for townhome development on a property that's over near Butler Lake. I think, again, that'll be another development, nice development for the village. And finally, if you're familiar with downtown Libertyville, the building at the corner of Lake and Milwaukee Avenue, where Casa Bonita is, the second and third floors have been vacant for some time because the developer had a hard time. It's now been sold to Cedar Street Development. We've approved new apartments going in there. The property owner would like to do apartments, so we will now be doing apartments, and that building will be finished off. If you've been to downtown Libertyville on a Friday night, you may have had a hard time finding a parking space. We're working on that. A number of years ago, the TIF district was extended, and the purpose of the TIF district was to pay for the improvements. The TIF ends in about 5 more years, but we're going to go ahead and build a second parking garage at this point in time. It's going to go behind the Mickey Finn's and the Civic Center parking lot. We just worked with the owner of the property to the east to help extend it over that property, and I think we're going to have a nice development. We hope to begin construction right after the holidays in January. We want to wait to make sure that our businesses in the downtown have a successful holiday period, and as soon as that's done, we're going to begin construction of the new parking garage. It will be about an 8-month project. One of our main things we wanted to make sure we were doing was be transparent to our residents. So we've done a lot lately in the last couple of years on communicating and promoting businesses. We use Shop 60048 programs, Facebook, Twitter, e-news, village website, newsletter, local business organizations, the press. Thank you guys for being here today. And we've also held some town hall meetings. When Brainerd came up, a number of residents had input. They wanted to know what was going on, so we held some town hall meetings. We talked about video gambling this year, so we held some town hall meetings on video gambling to get the input of our residents to find out what's important to them. In the past year, we had 75 new or expanded relocated businesses in Libertyville. We have been very successful. In the month of June, the couple empty spots on Milwaukee Avenue will be filled. The Indian Motorcycle Dealership will take over the old Arden's Furniture, and O'Toole's Restaurant will take over the former Mickey Finn's. We also recently entered into a contract with Norwood Fire Protection District to provide ambulance and paramedic services for Norwood Fire Protection District. This will include, again, the area that Bernie talked about just a little while ago. It makes sense for us to service that area with our paramedics. They were coming from Lake Forest before. Our fire station is about 100 yards from that hilltop center that he talked about being developed. We did put up some new banners, Shop, Dine, Explore Libertyville. This is part of our promotion for 60048. These banners were all paid for by our businesses that help provide these. As I said, you may have been down in town in Libertyville recently. We now have a new dining guide out. We have 80 restaurants in Libertyville in our dining guide, and our dining program is going very successfully. We're very proud of our businesses. We're not franchises. They're owned businesses by people who, mom and pop restaurants, and we like that. People come. Starting tomorrow, our summer fun will begin. Tomorrow night, our first car fun on 21 starts. That's one of the Main Street programs. Main Street is our downtown business program that really puts on a lot of events for us. And so they start tomorrow night with car fun. Libertyville Days is the Father's Day weekend. And after that, we go through, and that following, at the Wednesday morning, begins Farmers Market. Thursday begins Wednesday's Farmers Market. Thursday is the Village Band. Friday is Out to Lunch. So every day coming downtown Libertyville, we're going to have a lot of events this summer. We did put out a brochure again, and it just has some of the many things going on. As I said, Main Street, our volunteer program, Main Street, puts on a lot of events, things that we couldn't necessarily do without them. So we rely a lot on volunteer support in Libertyville. So that's it on my slide presentation. I would like to bring up one other item. I know some of the towns don't rely on property taxes, but there are towns that do, and we are one of them. And some of the towns that don't have separate park districts, have separate fire protection districts, and their services are paid that way. With Libertyville, we run our own parks, we run our own fire department, so property taxes are important to us. And I received an email from one of our legislators on Friday night indicating that she voted to freeze property taxes. And I think everybody in the room says, wow, that would be great. But the problem is the state's pulling a bait and switch on us as far as I'm concerned. The state is bankrupt. All of us here, all of our communities have balanced budgets. They're looking to hit us, and it does nothing to help the state on that property tax freeze. My concern over that, 41.34% of what we charge in property taxes goes to our pensions. These are pensions the state required, pensions we are required to pay into every year. In the last 3 years, the amount we've had to increase our budget on fire pensions is 20.84%. On police pensions, 23.98%. That leaves 58.25% of our budget to pay for our police, fire, roads, parks, sewer, water, and all our other expenses after we take out the 41.34% for pensions. If they freeze property taxes and we go up 20% in fire, 23% in police, guess what happens to your general fund that pays for all your other services over the next several years? You're not going to see services from our municipalities. I would encourage all of you to talk to your state legislators and ask them to fix the state problem rather than attacking the municipalities, the school boards, and the other governments. I'm very disappointed with the actions the state's been taking because I haven't seen any bills coming out that actually address the state's financial problems. So Didn't mean to end it on a sour note, but thank you.
Well, thank you very much, Terry. You know, you say maybe ended a little bit on a sour note, but the reality is it's good. There are always two sides to every story, right? So it's good for us to hear some of that counterweight or some of the consequences that happen when something that sounds good at the surface may have some deeper problems.